Money Radio, good afternoon and thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure to get together with Laura Bramnick from TalkRealEstateAZ.com. Laura is an attorney and a consumer advocate and a real estate agent. She works in residential or commercial real estate or land transactions, and she can help put together a concrete plan for your transactions. Laura holds an active Arizona real estate license. She has been a real estate investor, worked in the mortgage industry, a certified instructor with the Arizona Department of Real Estate. And for more information, the website is talkrealestateaz.com, talkrealestateaz.com, or you can call Laura at 480-624-2705, 480-624-2705. For legal questions on real estate or to buy or sell, all that good stuff.
All that good stuff.
2 for 1, really.
2 for 1.
And that's something we don't see that much of. A real estate attorney also working as a real estate agent.
Correct.
And sometimes that's very important. We've talked over the past couple of weeks about the importance of understanding the real estate contract. And you really do have to examine the content. And sometimes it can be confusing.
It can be confusing. There are areas that you don't always realize are in there, and it is a standard contract, but some things may be important to you and some things may not, so you need to know.
We've talked primarily about the legal end of a contract, the business side of a real estate transaction.
Right.
And those are certainly very, very important. However, many real estate transactions involve another component. There's an emotional side.
There can be an emotional side, and it's not, this occurs most commonly with spouses, but it can occur with other family members as well. Mm-hmm. It's not unusual that you buy a piece of property with a family member, a sister, or a child or a parent is even more common. And then if you're married, most people, buy a home. Mm-hmm. And they get all kinds of debt in joint names. The mortgage, the purchase contract, the mortgage, car loans, credit cards, so that there's all kinds of implications when you're signing paperwork with a spouse. Even greater implications because of community property laws, many times than if you're signing it with another family member.
You have to think about the importance that a particular piece of property can hold for someone. And it could be a variety of things. Maybe it's just the neighborhood, maybe it's the schools that they're in.
Right.
That make it a particular attachment above and beyond just the dollars and cents involved.
Right, and when there's a divorce or that the one party does not want the property anymore, especially with family members or spouses, you have an emotional component that you have to deal with in addition to just dividing up the property by the numbers.
We still need to think then about an exit strategy, even when we're talking about family, and maybe even more so when we're talking about family.
Yeah, I think determining what value is and what the implications are if one party keeps the property. That's what I see the most is, when the property's being sold, there's a little bit of an easier exit strategy. But when one party wants to keep the property and both of them are on the mortgage or any type of loan, that's when I see the most difficulty. Most difficulties arise.
So we need to think about the possibility that the property won't just be sold, and that's your exit strategy.
Right.
One party may stay in the property or stay with the property. The other party may need to exit. So then you get into a bunch of questions about how will financing take place in a situation like that.
That's right. And you want to really do your due diligence. You want to get the property appraised if it's not going to be sold, and you want to determine what type of loan there is and what the value of that loan is. Is there gonna be a balloon? Is one party gonna be stuck with a big payment, at some point in time in the future? Is it adjustable? Is it assumable? And then what about the party that's exiting the property? They're on the hook credit-wise. So you have to develop try to develop as foolproof a strategy as you can, so that the party that's exiting the property but still on the loan doesn't get hurt. They will have that loan on their credit. It will prevent them, or in some way inhibit them from getting another mortgage probably. And if there's mortgage payments missed that damages credit, you have a lot of issues that need to be dealt with, and some of them you can't anticipate. You can't always know when somebody's gonna lose their job,
Right.
Things like that. And so, many times I actually recommend, especially in divorce, that there be a fund set aside for so many months of mortgage payments, in case the spouse that's supposed to make them can't make them.
Right.
Because that money's just held, let's say, in an escrow account or in a joint account, so that that's your backup strategy until you can get the house sold or figure out what to do.
I'm thinking you probably need to include in your contracts at some point some enforcement of those provisions and what the penalties might be for non-performance.
A lot of people, when they don't do that, they're forced to go back to court. And as you know, that's time-consuming, stressful, and expensive. And so you want to try to avoid that. And you want to try to be as specific as possible about what happens if. Try to foresee. Some things are pretty obvious that you can foresee and put in the ways that the issue is going to be resolved.
These what-if questions are so important, and I think that's really one of the important things that you bring to the table in a transaction as an attorney. A real estate agent can present the basic template of a contract, but then there are a lot of what-if questions, because we are all unique, we are all individuals.
Right.
And it's not just a cut and dry dollars and cents transaction for many people. There are emotions that can become a big part of a transaction, and that leads to some very important what-if questions that you can make sure are in a contract. Laura Bramnick from TalkRealEstateAZ.com. Next week we're going to talk about another area that I think is very important, and that's inheritance of properties.
Inheritance of properties has its own set of issues. That's correct.
Laura Bramnick, TalkRealEstateAZ.com, 480-624-2705, 480-624-2705. Thank you, Laura.
Thanks, Sinclair.